You're listening to In Our Headphones.
Your chance to discover the songs KEXP DJs don't want you to miss. I'm Janice Headley.
And I'm Isabel Khalili. And this is your never-ending source for new music discovery from listener-powered KEXP.
Hello and welcome to In Our Headphones. I'm your host, Janice Headley. Every week, my co-host Isabel Khalili and I chat with a different KEXP DJ and find out what's been playing in their headphones lately. And this week, I am delighted to be chatting with Larry Rose. Hey, Larry.
Hey, Janice. Hey, thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. And Larry was the longtime host of Larry's Lounge, which sadly, metaphorically, closed its doors last year. But you can still catch Larry on the air, filling in for other DJs.
That's right. Yeah, I'm filling in on a fairly regular basis, so hopefully you'll catch me on one of these shows coming up.
And Larry, you have been a DJ pretty much all your life. What first drew you to DJing?
I don't know. Like when I was a kid, for some reason, I always wanted to be a DJ. I always wanted to be on the radio. And I had a cat and I named my radio station KAT. And I started playing music and then having my cat record or meow into the microphone. And it just kind of went from there. and then I went to University of Washington. And back then we were KCMU. And I volunteered and ended up with an overnight show. And that was, it's hard to believe, 30 years ago.
So you have been involved with KEXP for 30 years. What are some of the biggest differences from then to now? Because you've really seen it evolve.
Yeah, I've DJed from 4 different buildings. When I started, we were in basically a classroom that was turned into a radio station. And that was in 1994. I think the biggest change was when we went on the internet and suddenly I was hearing from people all over the world, which was amazing. Wow. And then through email and text messaging, and it's really evolved with our website and our playlist and streaming and our archive. It's all so different than when I was on a little mic at a 10-watt station at the University of Washington.
It's so cool. So let's just get right into it. Larry, what has been in your headphones lately?
Yeah, so this was one that came out a few months ago. It's from a Nashville-based singer-songwriter that goes by the name of Brother Bird. And I just really like this song called State of Mind from her album Another Year.
I'm half asleep. I'm losing my patience. Tired of dreaming. I'm always waiting.
I started to dig into a little bit more about this artist because I didn't really know much about Brother Bird. And it turned out that it was started by an artist named Caroline Swan, who used to be Caroline Glazer. And her backstory is fascinating. When she was 17 years old, she recorded a song by Manchester Orchestra and put it up on YouTube.
Half a year and here you are again. I'd go out in public if nobody ever asked.
And the mother of the band's frontman came across it and sent it to Manchester Orchestra, and they contacted her and they ended up going on tour together.
No way!
Yeah, it's crazy. There's more to this story though. The next year, she decided to audition for the TV show The Voice.
What?
And she was on it, and she was selected from the auditions where she would perform Elton John's Tiny Dancer.
Pretty eyed, a pirate's smile. You'll marry music a million.
And so that's kind of how her career started. 8 years later, she was starting to put out her own music. And this album came out this year called Another Year, and I just love the song State of Mind.
It's such a beautiful spring. I mean, maybe because it's her band name, Brother Bird, but it just makes me think of springtime or summer.
For sure.
Such an upbeat track. So let's take a listen. This is State of Mind by Brother Bird.
Am I playing the fool?
a little bit of State of Mind by Nashville-based singer-songwriter Brother Bird. You can find that on her latest album, Another Year, which came out back in March via Easy Does It Records. All right, Larry, what song do you have next for us?
All right. This song is by a Chicago group called Dehd, and they just put out a new album called Poetry. The song is Light On. I started to be aware of this band during the pandemic, and they have been super prolific. They've put out 3 albums since 2020, Flower of Devotion, Blue Skies, and now Poetry. And there are great songs on all of them. And I feel like they're just getting tighter and tighter with each new album. I've been really curious about the name, though. Like, why did they call themselves Dehd? And it's Dehd. And I dug into that and found that they formed between a guy named Jason Balla, who is in Dream Eagles, and Emily Kempf, who is in Heavy Dreams. And they combined the name to be Dream Eagles, Heavy Dreams, and then shortened it to Dehd. So that's how that came about.
Wow, that's so clever. And thankfully it's a real word. I mean, in a way.
In a way, yeah. But I'm really liking this new album a lot, and I could have chosen almost every song on the album as I was listening to it, but I chose this one, Light On. It could be a soundtrack to a cool Motel 6 ad.
Oh, yes.
but I highly recommend this album, Poetry by Dehd.
I love it. And I was reading about it, and the frontman, Jason Balla, he said about the track, "This song is like a candle in the window, a light guiding someone back home if they were trying to find it. Or if they were trying to find a hotel."
Exactly.
Let's hear a little bit of the track right now. This is Dehd and the track Light On. You just heard a little bit of Light On by Chicago trio Dehd. You can find that on their brand new album Poetry, which just came out May 10th via Fat Possum Records. And you can hear that song in its entirety on the In Our Headphones playlist over on Spotify or on our website at kexp.org/podcasts, and just click on today's show page. So, Larry, tell us a little bit about the next song you brought today.
The next song is by Catching Flies. It's called GLY, which stands for Gonna Love You.
Aww.
Isn't that nice?
That is sweet.
I'm gonna love you like nobody loved you. I'm gonna love you like nobody loved you. I'm gonna love you like nobody loved you. Come rain, come shine.
Catching Flies is a British musician named George King, and he is produced for artists like Kamasi Washington, Father John Misty, Bonobo, all artists who I love.
Yeah.
And he's also worked on video games. If you're a gamer, he was nominated for a BAFTA for his soundtrack work on a PlayStation game called Sackboy.
No way.
Yeah, isn't that cool? And he's also worked on soundtracks to films. I just love the way he mixes live instrumentation with warm electronic beats. And this particular song just has a really nice, warm vibe to it. He also is great with samples. He samples all kinds of stuff on his new record. And on this particular song, he samples Billie Holiday's Come Rain or Come Shine in the mix.
How did I not realize that?
I'm gonna love you like nobody's loved you. Come rain or come shine.
It's a pretty quick sample, but it's used a few times in the song.
Oh, that is so cool.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Another thing about this song is Hot Chip did a remix of the song.
Oh, wow.
In the past couple of years.
What a great pairing, too.
Yeah. I just love Bonobo, and it kind of has that vibe to it. So hope you enjoy it.
Nice. Let's check it out. This is Catching Flies and the single GLY.
I'm gonna love you like nobody loved you. I'm gonna love you like nobody loved you. I'm gonna love you like nobody loved you. Come rain or come shine. I'm gonna love you like nobody loved you. I'm gonna love you like nobody loved you. I'm gonna love you like nobody loved you. Come rain or come shine.
That was Catching Flies with the track GLY, which you can find on his new album Tides, which came out last month via the Stereo Fox label. And finally, every week we've been asking our DJs to share a song with our listeners that isn't necessarily something new, but just something that has a special meaning to them. And Larry, what song did you choose?
I chose Bronski Beat, Smalltown Boy. And I chose it because June is Pride Month. And this song just always comes to mind for Pride. It's a song I've always loved. And the lyrics just they really resonate. Bronski Beat formed way back in 1983, and all the members of the band were openly gay, and their songs reflected that, including political commentary on gay issues. And this particular song is about a young gay man who lives in a small town who decides to leave home because of bullying. And 1984 may seem like a long time ago, but there's still forces today that are creating anti-LGBTQ legislation, and so sadly the lyrics are very relevant today.
I thought it was really cool. I was reading that the vocalist and lyricist, Jimmy Somerville, actually does work for homeless charities in London where he lives. And, knowing that like this song is about, a young gay man who runs away from home, I just thought that was so cool that, here it is 40 years later and he's still, reaching out to homeless youth.
Yeah, that's so great to hear. Time Out magazine mentioned that the song takes the pain of rejection and makes it danceable.
It does, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah. You just heard Bronski Beat and the single Small Town Boy. And Larry, thank you for being my small town boy and being on the show today.
Thank you, Janice.
It's always such a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Listeners, if you want to check out Larry's most recent on-air shows, check out his DJ page at KEXP.org. We've got archives of his most recent fill-ins in our 2-week streaming archive.
And I will be on the air for Pride on Saturday, June 29th from noon to 3, and also on Sunday from the Wild Rose, live from Wild Rose, 1:30 to 3 p.m.
Oh, that's awesome. And again, listeners, if you aren't able to tune in that weekend, it'll be in the 2-week streaming archive.
That's right.
Awesome. Larry, thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you so much, Janice.
And now we're going to check in with KEXP's Associate Music Director, Alex Reuter. Hey, Alex.
Hey, Janice. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well.
Awesome. So, Alex, I know every week you are listening to hundreds, thousands of new songs every week. Of all the new releases you've been listening to lately, what track are you most excited to share with our listeners?
Yeah, the one I want to share today is what I feel is kind of a under the radar release. So I wanted to give it some shine today. It's a track off a new EP from the artist Kuross. And it's a song called Savage Lullaby off an EP titled Everything is Poisonous.
Machines were dreaming strange mercies. Their memories like ashes on the floor. Forgetting is what keeps them thirsty. So slide another needle through the door.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of him before, so you're right. Definitely kind of a little under the radar. And I was listening. His voice kind of reminds me of the guy from Grizzly Bear.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it definitely kind of has like a sort of like a chill vibe going for it.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that stood out to me about this song is kind of the things it makes me remember when I listen to it. And it really taps into the genre, which I don't love the name for it, but I love the sound, is the indietronica kind of movement of the early 2000s, mid 2000s. It just totally takes me back to getting more into more pop and rock sounds, coming from being a really big electronic music fan around the early 2000s. So artists like the No Twist and Styrofoam, like the Postal Service's album, Early Dentel, the Go Find, Tom York's solo album when that came out in the mid 2000s. It takes me back to that era of kind of like indie bedroom pop musicians making kind of like sensitive pop songs, but with electronic beats. So it just takes me back to that stuff I grew up on and always have been really fond of.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. And I saw he was just at the Treefort Music Fest back in March. Were you able to catch him live?
No, I haven't had a chance to catch him live, but he does have roots here in the Pacific Northwest for sure. If I'm to believe his Wikipedia page, he was born in Seattle, but didn't live here very long. His family moved to Idaho when he was pretty young. And yeah, he's been pretty immersed in the scene in Idaho for quite a while. I saw that he kind of did something in the music department at the University of Idaho.
Oh, wow.
Bandcamp says he's in Los Angeles now, and he's active in some other bands like Howling and The Acid, some other groups that kind of do a nice mixture of electronic and pop music. But yeah, this is my introduction to him, like as far as his solo stuff goes.
Yeah, so let's take a listen. This is Kuross and the track Savage Lullaby. You're listening to Kuross, Savage Lullaby. You can find that track on his latest EP, Everything is Poisonous, which came out back in April. Thank you to Alex and Larry for sharing your song picks this week on In Our Headphones. You can listen to the tracks featured on today's episode in their entirety on KEXP's In Our Headphones playlist on Spotify or on our website. Just go to kexp.org/podcasts and click on In Our Headphones to check out the show page. We've also got links to the artist Bandcamp pages so you can support them with a purchase. And if you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review, or share it with a friend. We'd also love to hear from you if you have feedback. You can write to us directly at headphones@kexp.org. KEXP is an independent nonprofit radio station, so this podcast, along with all of our programming, is made possible by the generous support of our listeners. If you'd like to be one of those generous supporting listeners, you can make a donation of $6 a month at kexp.org/headphones. And tune in this Friday, June 10th, for KEXP's One Day Drive. KEXP is funded by listeners, and we only go on air to ask for your support a few times a year. And in the summer, we power our work with just a single day of on-air fundraising. But that means we really need to rally to meet the goal. So if you're able to participate, this is an important time to give. Right now, one of the simplest ways you can support what you hear on KEXP is by making your summer drive gift early. You'll help us get a head start on our goal and make sure the drive is a success. Make your donation now by going to kexp.org. In Our Headphones is hosted and produced by Isabel, Khalili, and myself, Janice Headley. Audio was mixed by Emily Fox. And our director of editorial is Larry Mizell Jr. Our theme song is How Ma by the band Chinese American Bear. Tune in next week where Isabel will be chatting with Greg Vandy, longtime host of The Roadhouse, KEXP's roots program emphasizing the blues and other traditional styles of American music. I'm Janice Headley. See you next time on In Our Headphones from listener-powered KEXP, where the music matters.